Okay, good morning and welcome to Iyun HaMishna. Today we'll be discussing Terumos Perek Dalet. Mishnah Zion introduces formally the idea we've mentioned many times that Truma is not Batel Barov. It's actually not Midoraisa, it's not even Batel Barov. It's Batel, like I explained in the regular share. The pasuk says Mikol Chelbo es Mikdasho Mimenu. By Trumas Meiser, this is the word Mimenu. That even if it's Mimenu, Trumas Meiser is 1 out of 100 of your pile of 100%, 1% is Trumas Meiser, it's still considered Trumas Meiser. So if it gets mixed in, Trumas Truma, we learn from that, if a little Truma gets mixed into 99 parts Chulin, it makes it something called Dimua, it's Midameya, which makes the whole thing Usr, meaning Yisrael cannot eat from that. What could he do with that, Yisrael, if it gets mixed in, right? He took off Truma and then he lost it, it fell in his Chulin. So he already mafresh Truma, it fell in the Chulin, it makes it Dimua, so therefore he has to sell the whole thing, the Torah's Truma to the Kohen. He has to sell at the value of Truma. Truma is worth less than obviously Chulin because Truma can only be eaten by a Kohen. So you have to sell it to the Kohen. You can't benefit from it all. We don't say Batel Barov, and therefore you could 2-1 and it's Batel. And there's some posts going to say Batel Barov. Even Matir is the third thing. You have two pieces of kosher meat and one piece of nevela meat that got mixed together. Some posts can learn you can even eat all three for sure. Here, even if it's 100-1, you can't eat. You can't eat 101 parts. You have to take off one and give that to the Kohen. And also, why is it when you take out one, why do we assume that one is Truma? That one is Truma. So I'd like to go back to an investigation they have about Tevel. Tevel, before you take out Trumas and Maestros, you have a big pile of grain, right? You have to take off Trumas and Maestros. Now, someone, it's an Isra in the Torah to eat Tevel. You're not allowed to eat Tevel. It's a lav in the Torah. But do I assume also that I'm chayiv misa for eating? Because the truma is psicha be, that's the lashon of the Acharonim use. Is the truma that I haven't yet taken off, is that mixed in or is that not mixed in? If the truma is still mixed in, I didn't think of anything yet, so therefore I'm chayiv misa b'dei shemayim for a zar eating truma, a non-kohen eating truma. Or do we assume that truma only becomes into existence once I'm mafresh truma, and whatever I'm mafresh truma, that's misa b'dei shemayim. The rest tevel is just a lav. I like to suggest from the Lord, though the pasuk says, when it talks about losa acher, if you do it in the right order, malayaska v'dimacha, right? Dimacha is talking about truma. Truma losa acher. Truma is called dimua. Dimua is also a tear. A tear comes from your eyes, right? When a tear is swelling in your eyes before it drips down, it's all one goof. It's one big thing, one big puddle, one big, wetness. And when it drips down, it's just a piece coming from that. And that's the thing. Same thing happens over here. When you have 99 parts chulin and 1 part truma falls into it, that creates dimua. It creates dimua. It recreates tevel. It's an interesting concept that we have. We learn from Imenu that it recreates tevel. It goes back to being tevel. Tevel is just one goof. It's one thing, and therefore it goes. That's why it's called in the pasuk calls dimacha, the truma. Truma is dimacha. It makes something midameya. It goes back to being tevel, and therefore, even if you have 100 parts to 1, right? You add 100 parts chulin to 1. You're not going to do it l'chachila, but if you had 100 parts chulin to 1 part truma, so you still have to take off 1 part truma because it goes back retroactively to tevel, and therefore you have to be mafresh a new truma. That's what it's not, because otherwise you could ask, how do I know that the truma that fell in the one I'm taking, the 1 out of 101 that I'm taking, is the truma, right? It's a suffix. How do I know I'm giving the right thing to the kohen? Maybe the truma is still mixed in there. And I'm eating, right now I'm left with 1 to 100, 1 to 99, and I'm eating truma. It goes back to dimua. No. It goes back to tevel. Tevel is not, I want to say the side that the side that I think that it's not, there's only a lav in the Torah. Tevel is not to have truma in it. Because like we said, truma is like hektish, right? You have to makdish l'shem shamayim. You have to create something, create a chalos, something new. So that's what you're doing when you're mafresh truma. But if you're mafresh truma, and before you give it to the kohen, it falls into chulin, so therefore you haven't yet been makayim. So we've talked before about truma being 1 mitzvah or 2 mitzvahs, afrasha. I like to suggest that it's really, I've said before it's 2 mitzvahs, but I want to rephrase that. Really, it's 1 mitzvah with 2 parts, right? You're makdish l'shem shamayim, and then you give mishulchan gavoa. It's not exactly shulchan gavoa. I have to talk about. It still belongs in certain sense to Hashem because we know that a kohen can't eat it when it's tameh. Right? And when it's tummy, he can't eat it. So the kohen doesn't have full bias over this truma. He's allowed to eat from it. He has atar to eat from it, but who says it really belongs to him in its entirety? And we'll have to discuss that more, what type of ownership the kohen has over it. But really, it still belongs to Hashem, so to speak. So there's 2 parts. You're supposed to be makdish it to Hashem, and then you're supposed to give it to the kohen. If you do not fill that second step, So it's really one mitzvah with two parts. It goes back to being tevel, right? It falls into 99 parts of chul, and it goes back to being tevel, because if you haven't done the second part, so the whole mitzvah is nisbatla, and it loses the kriya shem. Even though you're makdish l'im shamayim, it loses that kriya shem. It goes back to a mixture of tevel, right? And it's dimua now. It's called dimua. The truma, it's like a tear coming out of one goof, and therefore you have to take off truma again. And that explains also why it's not batel berov, because batel berov is when there's two distinct things. You know there's two distinct things. Here, when it falls into it, it goes back to just an anonymous pile of wheat or something like that, where there's no designation of truma anymore. It's not that there's truma and 99% chulin. There's just 100 pieces of the same thing. There's no truma. Truma, it reverses its status, the chalos of truma. There's no more chalos truma anymore. That's what I have to say about this. Hope you enjoyed. See you tomorrow.